Hello, our most valued student. My name is Confident and this is the exam preparation for Industrial Electronics N1. I call this the ultimate guide and it contains everything you need to know concerning industrial electronics. Now, what are you going to learn in this intervention plan? I'm going to show you all these topics from topic number 1 to topic number 13, and in this lesson in particular, we are going to focus on the basic atomic theory. So if you're interested in passing your exam with excellent marks, with good marks, I will encourage you, grab hold of this video and watch this video until the end. It will give you every possible exam question that you're going to follow. For example, just look at what we are going to be learning. So these are the previous papers that I took from each and every paper that was written, and I'm bringing it to you in a compressed form that will prepare you for your final exam. So ensure that you watch this video until the end so that you can watch each and every question that you can expect, and trust me, you will be ready to write your exams. So let us start again our lesson. As I said, this is going to focus on the 13 topics from basic atomic theory up to transistors, and there will be a video for each and every lesson. So expect a minimum of 13 videos, and let us start our first part. And the first lesson says question number 1 here, 1.1. It says make a neat fully labeled sketch of an atom with an atomic number of 11. So here they're saying you need to make a neat fully labeled sketch. Look at this. This is 6 marks, and for you to make a sketch, what you need to know is how many the atomic number here is 11, remember? So now it means you are going to draw, let me make it a little bit bigger. You are going to draw a circle here like this, and in the center, as I say here, you are going to call this center, we're going to call it the nucleus. All right, and then we're going to open our shells. Now this is the first shell, and then this is the second shell. You can draw better if ever you're using your compass. Now in the nucleus, we are saying the first electrons you are having is 2. So this is 1 and this is 2, and then from there you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you count now, there are how many? There are 10 electrons. So 2 in the center as well as 8 outside, and then you've got the last shell like that, and the last shell is going to have how many electrons? It's going to have 1 electron. So if you count all these, you can see that you have got how many electrons? You have got 2 plus 8, which is 10, plus 1, which is 11. So here, just as a reminder, the electrons, it's 11 electrons. And then now, don't forget, in the nucleus, what do you have? You have got your protons. So you can have, I'm just going to mark it in different ways. So you can do this: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So these are protons, as well as you can use a different color here to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I know here it will be 12. But here you don't have to be very sensitive in here, just to indicate that this was the nucleus, and inside that nucleus you need to indicate to say these are the protons and these are the neutrons. So that's what they want to know. Or you can say in the nucleus it's protons and plus neutrons. They will also accept that. All right, so this is what you can draw. That's your 6 marks to draw. It says make a neat fully labeled sketch of an atom with an atomic number of 11. That's what they mean. Remember the atomic number, protons are what? Are 11 like electrons, electrons are 11, and then neutrons will be 12, but we're going to look at this at a later stage. And then it says, does the atom represent a conductor or an insulator? Now this represents a conductor. You know why? Metals have got 1 electron in the outermost shell. So if you see 1 electron or 2 in the outer shell, this we call this the valency shell. So if the last shell has got 1 or 2, these are metals, and metals, you know, they are conductors of electricity. It says an atom that has lost an electron, electrons is known as a what? An atom that loses electrons is known as an ion. So that's an ion, right? It depends whether if it loses, it becomes, actually the right word is a cation. Even if you say ion is fine, but to say cation, you are very specific into that. So that is the first question. Look at the next question. It says an atom becomes an ion when it what? How does an atom become an ion? As we say, it can become an ion if it loses electrons, there you see, or even if it gains. So whether you lose or whether you gain electrons, it's also called an ion. All right, guys. Now, before I continue on my lesson, just a quick one. This video is sponsored by Ekurhuleni Technical College. This is one of the distance learning colleges, one of the best currently. It offers distance learning programs from N1 to N6, including your installation rules. Look at them. It's the boiler making, welding, fitting, and so on. This is their website, www.etcollege. You can check more of their programs that they are offering, and their registrations are always open. Check them for the next intake. You know, as I said, it mainly specializes with distance learning, but there is also part-time and full-time classes, and above all, they also offer installation rules. All right, so if you're interested in installation rules, you can come for their exams at Krugerstop. This is in Krugerstop, but you can check more of their details. Now back to the lesson. Let's move on to the next part. Here it says, draw a fully labeled sketch to show how 2 atoms combine to form a covalent bond. Now they are saying draw a sketch to show how 2 atoms combine. You can choose in here. I will just use 2. For example, let's say you are looking at that sodium. I'll use sodium as an example. Now sodium has got okay, they are saying a covalent bond, so I can't use sodium, but I can use what? Let me use hydrogen, a simple one. It's hydrogen. Now you know that hydrogen, as I've already drawn here, hydrogen is more like this. In the center there is, my circles are very poor, guys. This in the center is the nucleus, and hydrogen has got what? 1 electron. Again, you have got another hydrogen center with the nucleus, and then there is another electron. I'll make it different like this. So I will call this a plus. Remember, they say draw a fully labeled sketch to show how 2 atoms, so these are 2 atoms, atom 1 and atom 2, and I call this hydrogen, and then remember, with hydrogen there is the nucleus. Now there is it's just empty here. A hydrogen is just a proton. You can make it just like that. It doesn't have any nucleus at all. So it says draw a full labeled diagram to show how 2 atoms combine to form a covalent bond. So when you do this, what you have, you are going to have something like this and something like this. So this is the hydrogen, this is the hydrogen, and we have got these atoms being shared. The key word there is the sharing. See, this now becomes the H2. All right. Or you can choose any. You can choose the hydrogen, for example. Let me use another one. We have got a hydrogen here, and then you can say plus, and then choose chlorine. It's like this, but now with chlorine you need to be careful. You need to know chlorine in the outermost shell, it has got 7 electrons, you know, because it is in group 7 like this. And then if you bond these together, what you're going to get, you're going to get your hydrogen and you're going to get your chlorine like this, and then your hydrogen will have that electron there, also the hydrogen and chlorine, but now chlorine will continue to have its 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, it had 7, but now it has got 8. So this is hydrogen chloride. You see, so it depends whatever you want to do. You can just choose any that works for you, and it can, as long it is non-metals, they form a covalent bond. Someone can say, how about if I choose 2 chlorine atoms? Is fine to get Cl2. This is chlorine. So what you do is you take a chlorine which has got how many? It has got 7 outside. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got 7. And then another chlorine which also has got 7, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see that these two are going to bond. So there is the combining of those 2 electrons. So when you do that, you are going to have something like this, as well as something like this. So those 2 electrons, they are going to share them. That's covalent bonding. And then you maintain the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you've got Cl2. So this is what they mean when they say that. And then the next question here, it says, complete the following sentences by writing only the missing word or words. The first one says, the nucleus of an atom consists of particles called dash and dash. What does the nucleus consist of? We mentioned that inside the nucleus there are protons, P, protons, as well as what? As neutrons. Remember, the nucleus consists of protons plus neutrons. All right. And then it says A or N is the smallest particle of a compound that retains all the properties of that compound. Here it is a what? It's a molecule. Remember, if I say molecule of water, H2O, this is the molecule of water, and it is the smallest particle of a compound that retains all the properties of water. The process by which atoms either gain or lose electrons is called, when you gain an electron or you lose an electron, is called ionization. All right, the electrons in the outermost shell of an atom are often called what shell? I think we just did this one. Just check backwards. We call them, it was here, where is that part? I think it was here, where I used this valency. Remember that word? So we call these what? We call them valency electrons. They are in the outermost shell. They are the ones that are used for reacting, and that's the one that I was using here. Just look at this one here. These are called valency electrons. See, these are valency electrons because they are in the outermost shell. Okay, next one. If a neutral atom loses electrons, it becomes a what? N or a ion. If you are losing, you become a positive ion. And the special name there is called cation. But the answer there was positive ion. You cannot say cation ion. So it was positive ion, but when you gain, what you become? When you gain, you become negative. Now, what is a negative ion? Is an N ion. Alright, so this is just to remind you as you are studying and revising. Alright, next one. Let's look at the next question. As I said, guys, these are previous papers. When you master this ultimate guide, trust me, you won't struggle with your exams. It says, state the composition of an atom. 3 marks. How can you get all this? 3 marks, and you're supposed to state the composition of an atom. You are going to, it's more like they're asking you this shape to say in an atom. Remember, we said what is in the center. If I draw an atom like this, and then I do this, it says 1, 2, and then I do and say 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. If I draw something like this, what are you going to say is the center? Here in the center, what do you call it? You call it the nucleus. And then the nucleus, what do you have? remember you have protons plus neutrons, and then outside of these, what we call this, we call them electrons. So that's what they wanted to see. If they say state the composition of an atom, the first thing you're going to say an atom has a nucleus, and then you're saying which consists of, what I'm going to say it consists of protons and neutrons. And then we're going to say it has electrons in the shells. That's another thing, because these are called shells. Then you get 3 marks. Alright, don't just say an atom has got electrons, protons and neutrons. You might get penalized there. Just tell us an atom has got a nucleus. Inside that nucleus, there are protons and neutrons. You can even go on further and say there are protons which are positively charged and neutrons which are neutral. Remember, the neutrons, they are neutral. And then there are electrons which are orbiting in the shell, which are negative. Those are things that you can get your full marks, They say define the following terms: the atomic number. If they say to you define the atomic number, you're going to say the atomic number is the number of protons, right? And if they say the atomic mass, it is the number of protons and neutrons. So if you add protons and neutrons, or you can just say protons plus neutrons. Of course, don't say P plus N. Just write in full: protons plus neutrons equals what? Mass number. Okay, and then so that's what define atomic number is the number of protons. Atomic mass is the number of what? Of protons and neutrons. All right, guys. So next one. Okay, as I say, these are previous papers, guys. I didn't just take this from somewhere. I just took them directly from previous papers, and this is what you expect in your exam. It says consider an atom of sodium that has an atomic number of 11 and an atomic mass of 23. This is where I want to link that question of sodium. Now it says write down the number of protons, electrons and neutrons of sodium. So now you have got sodium. Now in this sodium, they're saying write down the number of protons. So if they're saying it has got an atomic number of 11, remember what we said? We said the atomic number is what? The atomic number is the number of protons, you see? So here, these are the protons. So how many protons? 11. 11 protons. What else? And then the atomic mass is 23. How many electrons? Don't forget, protons is equal to electrons. 11 electrons. Remember, protons are positive, electrons are negative. So if protons are positive, and the electrons must be the same number with a different charge, so that they are neutral. And now look at this. We said the neutrons of sodium. Now we said the mass number, or the atomic mass, is the number of protons and neutrons. So when you add protons and neutrons here, if you say mass number, the mass number is equal to protons plus neutrons. But now already this atomic mass is 23. So 23 here is equal to protons, which are what? 11 plus neutrons. So the question is how many neutrons? Take 11 to the other side, it becomes minus. So it's 23 minus 11, which is equal to neutrons, and we have got what? 12 neutrons. You see that? So you can come here and say how many neutrons? 12 neutrons. Are you seeing that? That's what they wanted here. Then write down the number of protons, neutrons, electrons of sodium ion. Now I'm going to be very sensitive here. They are now talking about sodium ion. When it loses one electron. After losing an electron, you must always remember protons and neutrons never change. So you still have how many on this question? Here you will still maintain the same number of protons. So 12 neutrons They never change. 11 protons. The only thing that you can lose or gain are electrons. So because you have lost one, you are now going to have 10 electrons. Alright, so that is how you approach these questions. Alright, so you can only lose electrons. Protons will remain the same. That's why sodium is now called a positive. It's sodium, which is Na plus, because why? It has lost a negative. Now it is having an extra positive charge. Alright, so guys, that was the end of the lesson. And a quick one again before I end this lesson. As I said, if you're interested in enrolling for the N1 to N6, you can try Agro-Learning Technical College, which offers distance learning courses from installation rules to other courses which involve the boiler making, the fitting, instrumentation and everything. I'm saying this because they are the ones who sponsored this video, and I'll be doing from module 1 until 13 of everything you need to know about industrial electronics. I will encourage you, if this is your first time coming in contact with this channel, ensure that you are subscribed so that every video you're going to benefit from. So what is the next part on this? Now remember, don't lose me here. You need to watch the next one, which is conductors and insulators. I'm also going to bring a brief video there. It is going to cover everything about that. The next one will be resistors, capacitors, and so on and so on. This you won't regret. Remember, failing is expensive. It's better that you get hold of these videos and ensure that you pass first time. Prepare for your final exam now. Join me again in the next lesson.